Hello, my name is Muhammad Ashur. I'm an assistant professor at the Faculty of Information Engineering and Technology in the Network Department. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about your careers at the IET, and what kind of study programs will you have when you go to IET. In doing that, I will answer two sets of questions. The first question is career questions, mainly related to money. We're all interested in getting good salaries, living a good life. And in order to do that, we need to get jobs. So a lot of questions that I get is, do IET students get jobs? And more importantly, are they good jobs? Another important question is, how about my career? I might get a good job as I graduate, a job that depends on being a young person, a job that needs effort, but I'm interested in having a good job that would provide me with good salary, promotion, and so on. In other words, how will things be in 10 years from now? Another important set of questions is the questions that are related to the study program. I get questions like the level of difficulty, whether IET is difficult. A lot of students come to me and say, I'm an average student. How will I do in IET? Another question is about choice. A lot of students are not sure. They think that they should be born to do something. They ask me, the question is, how do I know if I'm born to be an IET? I would say this is a wrong question. The idea of modern education is that it is the professor's task to make you whatever you want. No one is born to be something. Another funny question is, I love programming or I hate programming. This is actually a very wrong question. Programming is just a tool. It's like a hammer. No one loves the hammer or hates the hammer. People love or hate the things that the hammer do. So I'm going to talk about these things, and I hope I would be able to answer these questions. Let's start with the career part. I will try to answer questions like, will I find a job? Where will I work? What kind of job? And where will I be in 10 years? The first question, will I get a job? In order to give you proof, I will go to the job fair that was done in the GUC in the year 2019. The companies that were taking part, there was a survey done by the SCAD office in the university, and this is what they found. They found that 29% of the companies that participated in the job fair were looking for IET talent. And that came in the number one. So that means these companies paid money, sent employees in order to get talent that is specific to IET programs. That is an indication that IET jobs are in very high demand and that very few people are qualified enough to do them. If you look around, you will find all the other departments in the university, and you would see that IET comes first. So that means that IET jobs are in very high demand, which means that you're guaranteed to find a job if you graduate. So you will get a job, but more importantly, what kind of company will you work on? This is a list of the companies, or this is some of the companies that you would work for. You will notice that all these companies are multinational companies because information technology is borderless. To work in the States, you don't have to live in the States. You can be working here and doing work for the United States. These are all companies that has big structure, which enables you to promote inside these companies. And these companies are all related to the core business of IET, which is a very important point. Because in any of these companies, an IET student has the opportunity to be the head of the company at some point. The head of Vodafone Egypt will always be a communication engineer. The head of Valeo will always be an electronics engineer, because this is the main business of all these companies. So what about if you're not interested in professional work and you're interested in academia? It is interesting to know that about 30% of IET students did their studies abroad. Their talent, their knowledge, and their study here in the GUC will be very well appreciated by universities outside Egypt. And this is not limited only to Germany. We have students accepted in universities pretty much everywhere in the world. We have students accepted in the States, Canada, Sweden, France, Italy, everywhere. Example of that footprints, you can see that IET students have been able to go different places in the world. They have even been able to go to Japan and Australia. This is a very good example of the recognition of the knowledge gained at the IET School of Engineering. So now we know that you can get a good job, that you are well recognized everywhere, but let's see how things developed for our IET students. Let's look at some of our IET students that has traveled abroad and where they have been now. On the left side, we have Sarah that is working as a senior data analyst after she finished her PhD at the University of UCB in Belgium. We also have Mustafa that is working in Ireland as an RCA security expert. Mustafa is a network department graduate. Sarah is an ex-TA here in the university, and she has finished her PhD and now working in a company called Mentor Graphics. Some of you might know Mentor Graphics here from Egypt. They have an extremely big branch located in Heliopolis. Sarah is working in San Francisco. We also have Mohammed Abdel Fattah, who is finished his PhD at the University of Toronto, and he's one of the first people to work on artificial intelligence in the Samsung AI labs. Rana is a PhD graduate of Stuttgart University, and now she's working on Nokia Bell Labs for 5G standards. You might think, well, they have 5 good people. Actually, there is many, many more. If I put a presentation to tell you about all the successful people in IET, that would take hours and hours. But if you're interested to know about them, you can go to the Instagram page IET GUC Alumni. The QR code on the side will give you access to this page, or you can search it by IET GUC Alumni. In this page, you will find a lot of stories about IET graduates, where they have been, what they are doing, how successful they are, and in some cases, companies or that they have started themselves. And if you also want to look at the very successful examples, you can go to the WeGUCN webpage. It's a webpage created by the GUC to celebrate students that has become stars. And when we say stars, the GUC defines that by students that were able to gain international awards of high standards. If you look at this page, you will find that these are the people that were considered as GUC stars. And out of these people, you will find that there are 6 GUC IET students, making up 40% of all the stars in the GUC, and making 80% of the stars in engineering. That means that with the study that they have gained in the IET, And with the type of talent that they learned, they were able to go really far. And they were able to become real stars with international recognition. So now you have seen how our IET graduates have developed and how far they reached, and they have all become stars. Actually, in IET, we look at every joining student as a star in the making. It is the job of IET staff to make a star out of every joining student. So now a new question arises, which is, what kind of job will I be doing in these things? Let's go to engineering and see what kind of jobs are in the information domain. The first set of jobs is system hardware. These are the jobs that are associated with electronic design and optimization, embedded system programming, hardware testing and verification. And these are mainly the jobs that are done by electronic engineers. And then there is system communication. If you have a hardware, it is useless without having the connection between it. So communication engineers will do communication design and optimization, software-defined radio programming, signal processing, antenna design, electronic design. And then once we have all that, we need network engineers to do the system network. This deals with network design, network optimization, cloud computing, mobile applications, server and router software, protocol testing. There is also a new added functionality, which is system intelligence, making the system more intelligent through statistical and data analysis, planning and optimization, machine learning, application intelligence, application optimization. And then once all that is done, we need to build applications that would make use of all the above hardware, communication, network, and intelligence. And we need user interface for the user to be able to use that system. If we split that, we can see that the upper part deals with IET, is the responsibility of IET, and the lower part is the responsibility of MET. We build the hardware, communicate between these devices, build the network and program it, add the hardware intelligence to the devices. MET, they build the software intelligence, the applications, and the user interface. So that tells you what kind of jobs will you actually be doing in IET. IET could stand for I-enable technologies because I am an engineer. So in IET, we always look at ourselves as enablers. You cannot build a software without the electronics, the communication, the network that actually enables that software to run. "10 years from now, what will happen? You will still be a technology enabler in however the technology develops. You will always be ready. You will always be able to change and morph with the technology, because essentially in IET you are basically an engineer. Engineers could change a lot with the time. So let's look now at the study part. We have seen the types of jobs, the career development, and so on. So what kind of study? In electronics, you will study all the way from the transistor level, doing circuits, all the way to the system level. And it's based on 5 main pillars: analog electronics, electronic devices, where you study how these devices are built, optical devices, digital electronics, which is dealing with all the digital world and the building of all computing and mobile services, and radio frequency, which is important for all medical and communication devices. The communication part, you will deal with radio frequency waves, all the way to communication, building a full communication systems. On again 5 main pillars: digital communication, digital signal processing, communication electronics in order to be able to develop your communication systems, and you will have a hint of network. You might here notice that there is a bit of overlap between each department and the other. Yes, there is an overlap because these departments work together in order to build something. So there is always an overlap between the functionalities of these departments. At the end, the networking starts from the communication side and goes all the way up to network applications that run on mobile phones and tablets. In order to do that, you study telecommunication networks, protocol engineering, internetworking, you study computer science, and you study performance modeling. Network department is actually a unique department that is only available in the German University in Cairo. It is also a very nice department for people who are confused between CS and IET, because it is the department that makes the transition. You do study some CS, you study engineering, so if you are confused between going to engineering or to CS, network is a very good place to be. It is the middle point between these two specializations. But then I get the question a lot. What about the IET difficulty? Yes, IET is challenging. It is difficult, but this is the wrong question. You're not interested in how difficult the school is. You're interested in where that will get you. You can go through a difficult road if the place that you're going to is a good place. The difficulty comes from the advanced courses that cannot be self-learned, which actually gives you an advantage over other students in different universities in Egypt and internationally. It is also the result of diverse courses and course projects that makes your CV very, very strong. Being an IET, you can always look at yourself as a horse among the horses. You're still in the race. It doesn't matter whether you are in the front of the race or in the middle of the race. You're still a horse that is capable of running and making successes. One important point is that IET is one of the most accredited programs in the GUC, and you can scan this QR code to look at the accreditation of the IET program. At the end, we would be happy if you join IET, but we would be more interested that you follow your dreams and you look for the things that would give you the best success at your life. Thank you for listening. I hope that this video was useful.